I graduated in biotechnology, biochemistry, became a published author at like 21. I was like, I don't want to be a lab rat the whole time of my life. And then I started going in sales, started going door to door. Just to be frank, like I got like fired 3 times in a row. And I was like, fuck. Life was pretty tough, I would say, just because I had to balance both like not having work, family, wife, and all that stuff. And then I started with Catalyst like 2 months right after that. And that's honestly has been transformative because from like literally like 0 deals, then from there we had like 6, 7 deals April, and then May we had one large size deal, right? And the guy said yes right away too, so I could have charged higher, honestly. So
What do you think the difference is between the people that succeed and the people that don't?
realistically, 3 things.
All right, let's just get straight to the point. 4 clients to about $40,000 cash collected per month in 90 days. That's exactly what my client Daniel is going to detail exactly how he did for you guys in this video. He's going to talk about exactly what he implemented on, what separates the old version of him that could barely sign any clients to the new version of him that is making more money than he's ever made before in his life, and so much more. All right, let's roll the tape. Well, what inspired you to start your entrepreneurial journey? And second to that, why did you choose the agency space?
So a bit of background, like I graduated in biotechnology, biochemistry, did research for 4 to 5 years, and became a published author at like 21. But I was like, this is fucking boring. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, I don't want to be a lab rat the whole time of my life. So I'm just like, okay, well, let me try something else, and I want to try business, right? And I just didn't want to go to school anymore. And then I started going in sales, started going door to door, working in different avenues like that, and then started doing only commission based sales work. Eventually, found myself working with a sales agency that focused on helping SaaS companies grow. Right, I did a lot of work there. Transitioned from them to working with different companies, being part of the sales team. I think the startup environment just suited who I was. When it comes to larger corporations or even more structured, they have like a certain rigid way of doing things, and it's like if that way has worked, you would already be scaling that way, right? So it's like that's obviously not working, and you're bringing me in to help on that, right? So it always became apparent that like not being able to voice my opinion in certain situations is not something that I liked in any way. Just to be frank, like I got like fired 3 times in a row. And I was like, fuck. I was like, all right, you know what? Like the third time was a straw. And that's when I started the entrepreneurial journey. I'm like for me, it was like, hey, either I'm shit and the market would tell me and they were right, or I'm actually good and then like they're shit. Realistically, the market would tell you, right? And then I opened up in, I would say, yeah, October of last year. I did a few deals, I would say like 20, 30K. And then from there,
What was life like around this time?
life was hectic. I'm not gonna lie. Like I also just got married at the time, 6 months before then, and then like getting laid off again. I don't blame them either because it's like their idea of sales was just volume and marketing, and like it's not necessarily much on volume anymore as it is about understanding more on the market, right? So like life was pretty tough, I would say, just because I had to balance both like not having work, family, wife, and all that stuff. I was desperate, but at the same time I wasn't desperate because I knew as soon as I got desperate I would lose. Even if I was desperate, I'm like, okay, I just can't be in that type of mindset, right? Just that's when you start making poor choices in sales. Then after that, like I just knew the space quite well in terms of my side is on cold emails as an agency. So I knew it quite well already working with different SaaS companies. And I'm like, hey, like recruiters have, I was a high ticket items, so high ticket deals. So I'm like, okay, they have a good ROI on these deals. It's high ticket as well. So this is a space that I really want to start in. Mind you, this is probably one of the worst spaces to start in right now, just because not companies are laying off majority of their employees. So if you're able to make it work right now, just tells you that in the future just be a lot more dominant, right? So and then I started with Catalyst like 2 months right after that.
That's sweet. So then I guess before you started with us, what were the like stats of your business? Like how many clients? What were you doing?
Yeah, I had like 4 to 5 clients. I was sending more educational based VSLs, and then like it worked, but at the same time, I don't think the volume was sufficient enough for it to scale, right? Because educational based VSLs, like if someone sees an email, hey, you send like a 30-minute VSL, like not many people are gonna watch it. Some do, right? Don't get me wrong, some did, but at the same time, it was not scalable. So I was because I knew like what my total market size was, and I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna run dry within like first 4 or 5 months based on the volume I'm doing. That was the biggest issue.
So then I guess if you had this going on, why did you decide to do something different? Like why did you decide to work with us? Why did you not just, I guess, continue on doing what you were doing?
It's consistency, right? Because like it might feel good. Like I'm pessimistic as fuck, and I think the best way to be optimistic is to be pessimistic. I don't know, like this is just how I work.
That's interesting.
Like if I can predict like or think this is all the bad things that can happen, I already like can take action towards it, then I can have more reason to be optimistic because I've dealt with things. So in my case, like I'm like I have early success and I could have in a way delusional to a degree. I'm like, hey, like this is gonna be forever. But I'm like, okay, like what's my limitation right now? Well, I'm relying on cold emails, I'm relying on a VSL that does not have a great booking rate. Overall, it's good VSL, but again, at the end of the day, like it's educational. I'm not gonna get a lot of clients this way, and I'm just gonna burn through my target addressable market. So I'm like, if I work with Catalyst, they'll help me on ads, they'll help me on other things, and maybe just find me a more efficient way versus the 30-minute VSL. And that's honestly has been transformative because like now we don't set in VSLs, right? We just book directly into the calendar. I have a lot more consistent opportunities just from the cold email side, and been able to do quite well without even running ads thus far, which is not a good sign, but I should be running ads. But yeah,
Before you started working with us, what were you most concerned about?
just not having consistency, right? I just don't want to be those individuals that have success for 6 months and then goes back to a corporate job after. So that's, I was like, I just saw that in my horizon. I'm like, I'd rather never do that again.
No, definitely. And I don't know the exact date, but what has it been? 4, 5, 6 months now?
I started mid-December, so like more so like I guess I started January really. So yeah, so we're in the fifth month, yeah.
And what has that journey been like, I guess, from your perspective?
So I would say, on my perspective, mind you, I think I could have accomplished what I'm doing a lot quicker, and I could have been at a different stage. But like the first month, I was back in Pakistan and stuff, and I had like food poisoning and stuff like that for like 2 months
I
straight.
remember
So
that,
like
yeah.
yeah, so like I lost January like that. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. And then I had to like get back in gear in February, trying my best. Towards the end of February, towards March, we started really seeing success. So from like literally like zero deals, February comes, end of February really, we have one deal, and then from there we had like 6, 7 deals. April and then May we had one large size deal, right? That was beyond everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I know for sure. Obviously, that was I guess, what did that feel like when that deal went through?
It sort of validated, hey, like this is the right trajectory to go into.
Yeah.
But also it did put in a bit of fear too, in terms of like the things have to be delivered on time, and I had to focus also on operational, because the whole time, like since October, I've been just focusing on sales, and like I didn't even consider operations as a
Yeah.
problem in the business. And then that's a new journey for me, and the other team has been very helpful on that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because that was a multi 5-figure deal paid in full up front.
And the guy said yes right away too, so I could have charged higher, honestly. So
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And so curious though, do you think a year ago you would have been shocked if you found out that 12 months later you'd be closing a deal like that?
yeah, I'd be like, you're fucking lying. I'd just be straight up, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, curious to hear from your perspective, like, was there a specific thing that you changed or breakthrough moment or strategy that you believe has made a big difference, perhaps single-handedly the biggest difference, or just a whole bunch of golden BBs?
There hasn't been a huge strategy at all. I think it's just understanding that, the Catalyst framework does a really good job on this. We're trying to grab the attention, not convert them. Because like by the time, like why my closing rate was also high last year when I was
Mhm.
had a few clients, it's just because like when you watch a 30-minute VSL and you talk to me, no shit, you're gonna close, right? Like you already watched a 30-minute VSL, right? Whereas in this situation, obviously my closing rate did drop because they're not watching a 30-minute VSL, but we had more consistency this way. So right, so like it reframed like, hey, like I don't need them to be on referrals because they watch a 30-minute VSL. It's like, hey, like just grab their attention and get on a meeting and work on your sales tactics and the way that you actually like pitch and deliver value to people, right? And communicate that and resonate with people more than versus relying on a 30-minute VSL to get the job done for you.
How do you feel now, and how has your life changed? I guess both from a day-to-day perspective and just overall.
Honestly, maybe some people want like, oh, I have a Porsche stuff. Like, nah, bro. Like, I'm like, every day is still a grind. It's more of a grind, but like, I feel like I'm moving every day. I'm learning something new, multiple things, and I think it's more fulfilling that way too. I think overall, not much has changed in terms of like, I have like a mansion, I have a Porsche, I have this or that. It's just more so I have more confidence in myself, and I think that really goes a long way in a lot of things, right? Like the confidence carries into our interpersonal connections and family life. So I think that has been the biggest change, but also just like, yeah, just I think the confidence is key.
If you had to give yourself one piece of advice from the version of you 6 months ago, and you were only allowed one piece of advice, you were just allowed one sentence to help that person get to where you are today, what would that one sentence be?
Honestly, just believe in yourself. It's like if you don't believe in yourself, who will? And if you don't take that chance, are you going to regret that later? And that's like a hard question to ask yourself. And sometimes the answer is no, I won't regret it. But you never know when you're 40 or 50, right? Because like if I failed and I tried my ass off, but I took a corporate job, I think I would be thankful for my younger self for doing that as I'm older.
As somebody who has worked, on their business for some time now and seen some success with it, what do you think the difference is between the people that succeed and the people that don't?
Consistency and adaptability. Patience is also underrated because like the more you can withhold smelling flowers and spending your money and more invested back into the business, I think those three things really: patience, adaptability, and then delayed gratification.
What are you most proud of?
I just kept going, right? I was like fucking terrible. I'm not gonna lie, and it just feels like it's still an upward battle because I'm still like building the internal systems. I'm most proud of like even when no one was there, I didn't have Catalyst or anyone, or like you know what I mean. Like I still like gave it my best, and I kept moving forward and still got results, right? Without being really uneducated, just through sheer grit.
And I guess through that, what surprised you the most?
That I can take a lot than I thought, a lot more than I thought.
Do you think everybody can?
It depends on them, right? Like, what's their tolerance to pain? Because that's part of an equation of success, right? So the more you can tolerate pain, the more successful you'll be. Realistically, I don't know if everyone can, but I think there is a certain level of tolerance that people can tolerate, where I think they would be happy working as a solo entrepreneur. Really.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you taking the time. It was a pleasure to hear from you. It was a pleasure to learn from you. And well, at least between you and I, I'll speak with you soon.
All right, sounds good, bro.